Ubers of the internet. Today, I have a suggestion to build an automation by Uber Schnell the Great, where I will be building a 2000s era tuner import style vehicle. So presumably not a pickup truck like this one. Anyway, he does suggest something like the Subaru Impreza or Honda Civic are probably the best vehicles to take inspiration from. In my case, I've got the Toyota Celica from the early 2000s, and I feel that is a quite relevant vehicle in this case. I've got the page up for that, and he said 2003 as well. So, yes, again, I'll mention, I'm sorry if I've misspelled your name, as I can mess this stuff up, but we do have various bodies, actually conveniently from 2003. Do we want something this modern, though? I don't know. Personally, I'd want to go with something more Citroen Saxo, but put a lighter, higher revving engine in. Also, he said he wants a 1.4 to 2.6 litre engine, so no V10, no 8 litre V10 this time. Just throwing that in there. Ooh, we have a 2000 here, which looks very weird. As I was saying, I'd like to build it as kind of a Citroen Saxo, but that was a very old car. Even by the point of 2003, it was getting to be about 10 years old and it was going out of production, if not already out of production, so yeah, there's that. However, I think I can continue my quest with a little hatchback like this one. I think this is a 2003. Yes, it was. This one seems suitable enough. It's very, very short. And I'm going to hopefully make it front wheel drive. If it doesn't work, I may end up changing the body, so don't expect me to tweak it too much at the moment. We'll go with cheap materials, as I know I've played around with other cars before, and this has generally worked. We'll try struts and torsion beam. Again, I'm basically going to build this as cheap as possible and then start adding money, because that way I can see what kind of market standings it's got. Maybe it will have premium standings and I can build it to be a bit more premium, but then it has to be cheap, because that was part of the request, that it was a cheap car, and if it's expensive then yeah, we're not getting anywhere. I think an inline 4 would be well suited, a 1.4 litre inline 4. We could get that to be quite high revving quite easily. I would say aluminium. I really would say aluminium, but sometimes it doesn't have any benefit on the markets. There we go. It didn't quite fit at the bigger sizes, but oh dear. I'm going to be a bit sneaky here and just use a stroke to get it to be 1.4. Can we call 1399 1.4? I guess we can, I would say. Yeah, I'm going to call that 1.4. I normally would, so I don't see how it's any different now. 2 valve per cylinder, I don't know if I need more than that, so I'm going to leave it at that. Yeah, it's a cast iron engine. I'd want to go to aluminium to keep it as light as possible. However, as I'm saying, we're starting off cheap. No VVT. We're starting no carburetor though. I'm not going that primitive. And also, I've gone with dual overhead cam because it's usually very good for efficiency, and the markets generally like it anyway. I can convert back. It's just if I know something like that is generally going to work, I'll start slightly more expensive. But unless I absolutely know, I'm not going to. We can go with regular fuel, indeed, as we normally would. Don't want to mess with any of this now. Long tubular. I think that's cheap enough, but I don't know. Sure, cast log is generally terrible, so I wouldn't put that on any kind of performance car. We'll have bypass valves to enable us to fit as small an exhaust as possible. This is a big engine for the size of vehicle, we must remember. And we'll go with a high flow catalytic converter, although I did in one instance in the past get away with a two-way. I don't know how that worked, but hey, so it did. we'll try and get away with no muffler in a slightly sportier car. Again, I did kind of get away with that. The engine was a 700cc or something, and it sounded incredible. Like, I'm not kidding, that it was an inline 3 and it just sounded so amazing. Like, far better than an inline 3 should ever sound. But either way, we're not going to be working on an engine that small today, because I don't want to cheat. I mean, he wants to see a 1.4, so, or bigger, so I'm going to give him a 1.4 or bigger. Even though it's technically under 1.4 litres. You know, I cheat, but I'm kind of at least trying. These would look good. I just downloaded these from the workshop, I think. So, what a convenience. They're a bit big, if I have them like that. It's as if they were actually designed for this body, though. There we go. I can't say I like working on modern cars, but so I shouldn't be designing this too much, should I? I can't say I like working on modern cars because they just aren't generally as nice to design looks-wise. Although, having said that, this particular car is far from the ugliest I've dealt with. Ooh, that door wouldn't move. I keep wanting to tweak this, I'm sorry. I know I might have to change the body and it would all be futile. But nonetheless, regardless of what the markets say, I think we want a 5-speed manual. 6-speed would be good on a high-end car, but we've got to keep it cheap, so 5-speed it is. An open differential, maybe we could go with a vicious or something, but again, price. And then we add the money after the fact. Can we bring the rear tyres wider? No, not at this point. Okay, so we'll start with 165s. It's a small car. It might be all we need for the time being. We'll go with some drums, front and rear. But we'll probably convert to disc brakes in the front, drums in the rear at a later stage. No under tray. It's generally not worth it on cheaper cars. It can be, though, but it's just generally not. We'll go, not with a sport interior, they're quite expensive. I think we'll try a standard interior and a basic cassette, see how it works out for us. And maybe being a sportier car, we could get away with 2 seats, but I'll try that later. We'll go with variable hydraulic steering, which at this point in time always seems to do better in marketing than electric, although when variable electric steering comes out, variable electric steering will inevitably do better, and people like all the assists for reasons I can't quite figure, but, you know, they can have assists on the car. I'm not particularly opposed to adding them in. I think basic 2000 is the basic 2000s. Standard 90s. No, basic 90s, okay, that'll have to be it. Basic 90s safety, because there's no basic 2000s. It's a cheap, small car. I mean, you're not going to expect it to crash like a Rolls Royce, which probably has tons of steel in front of you to actually crumple. No, we've got this tiny crumple zone, if you get my drift there. So, no, we won't have active sport suspension either. Try sticking some kind of nice bits on it. See how that goes. Oh, yes. We've already got a category. Fun budget. It's not the highest for miles per gallon, but it's working. So, if we go with comfort suspension, that naturally hinders it. But comfort does help in other aspects. So, fun budget really benefits from normal. Problem being with fun budget, look at that pricing. I can try what I will with the quality. It will never make it cheaper. So, wait. Sport. Yeah, sport is higher. Okay, so that's the suspension sorted. But I have just had a really evil idea. My evilness. Forgive me for this. But if we go with a boxer engine, we could make this nigh on impossible to service. Well, admittedly, I was reading what he was requesting, and he said it could be a boxer engine, but a transversely mounted boxer engine filling out the engine bay. Nah, it also has to be easy to modify. I mean, how are you going to access that head? Oh, dearie me. Speaking of which, I think it's clear by now. It would just make more sense if we were to go with a little inline 3. It would make so much more sense. Although, we are... it's dragging all kinds of things all over the place, oh dear. So, 1.3 is a little bit large for an inline 3, or 1.4 even. It's a little bit large for an inline 3, but I don't think it's anything they can't handle. Especially not with modern technologies. And all the bore maxed out. Oh, that is definitely a 1.4. I don't think anyone can deny that. So, there is one trick we can use here to kind of make the budgets better, which is make a better engine, if that makes sense. Although I don't think it's going on my side. Not today. So we've got a tiny amount of power. Do I want to turbocharge it? Perhaps. It's always going to be relatively cheap. It's just, where do I go with that? Fun budget, naturally, it's not the most affordable. However, I don't think I'm ever going to get 100% affordability. I just want something it fits better into. So, what's the weight of it at the moment? What are we looking at? 109.2. They don't really like aluminium. As I've said, for some reason it doesn't make a difference. That's positive. Although I don't think on this engine it's going to be as detrimental that it's cast iron because it's a smaller engine. But it's always like going down a rabbit hole of, is it gonna work? And I kind of suspect it won't. Now, I'm quite happy with this body. I have to say that much. The body hasn't let me down yet, for all it's worth. We can go manual locker, which is worse than stock apparently. Vicious differential, which is worse than stock apparently. Electric, which is better, but boy are those things expensive. And geared, which is better than stock, okay. 65.6. I wouldn't necessarily say that's worth it. But I want it to be sporty, so I don't know. It's not going to fit in a sports car category, though, with 73 horsepower. If I want to turn it into a proper hard sports car, it has to be more. Ooh, 853 kilograms, though. So, on the weight front, we are doing very well. We are not failing there. Maybe we could upgrade the safety. Maybe, although that would add weight, maybe it would make it appeal to a more mature audience, you know, that cares about their own safety. It's worth a try, I guess. We can go with variable valve timing as well, smoothing out the power curve. There's intake and all cams. Cams, yeah. I managed to say cams. I'm not completely immature, I guess. There we go, we see that went up. If we go to intake, 66.2. So it somehow gets more affordable because the engine, I don't know, either VVT is so overused these days, or the engine is just better and it appeals more and people can justify the cost. So 54, 6,900 RPM. We have plenty of space left actually. It can rev all the way to 8,300, which isn't bad for an inline 3. And 77. It needs a turbo, I believe. Seeing what I'm seeing, I could possibly get over 100 out of it, but it needs a turbo if I'm ever to get properly beastly power. So, the exhaust as well, that's another thing. I can upgrade that, yeah, you don't mind. But we can't go with the race, because that is literally for race cars, not road cars. 80 horsepower. Now, I haven't messed with the cam profile yet, meaning we're still on a fairly low cam profile. we're still on a fairly economy-orientated camper. Admittedly, it's somewhere in the middle, but it's evening off. Evening? Is that even a thing? Moving off to the economy side. If we lean out that and then do this, yes, it might hurt the markets temporarily, but as I said, I'm going to add a turbo to it, so it shouldn't really matter. Yeah, that has improved the markets, I would say, in terms of both budget and just overall market potential. Is there anywhere else it will go now? Now it's got a bit more power. And maybe a bit less weight as well, thanks to the exhaust manifold being lighter. Markets, where'd you be? We could also try using it in a different area, I guess. Frunia, no, Frunia just hates my car. Arcania, they like it as a fun, and I think they have more money. So 120.5, 73.5. Ah. Fun budget and fun. So that isn't bad for Gasmir. If we could actually get it competitive in fun, but I don't think we can. Whereas if you look at Arcania, I'm guessing it's a poorer country, so they're willing to accept less in a way. But we have a low comfort penalty, so we're going to have to somehow make a smaller car more refined if it's going to compete there. But overall, doesn't seem too bad. Pony is quite low on statistics there. So, Het Visa. What do we have? We have nothing much here. City budget, but we're not building a city car. It has to be sporty in at least some form of a sense. No one can afford it here. Okay. That's the way it appears, at least. If you have one of these in Daluha, you are a rich man. You are a lucky man. So, where this is really getting the penalty from it, in fun, is getting the penalty for being unrefined, I think. Actually, which makes me think, can I adjust the suspension? Obviously, this is before I stuck the turbo on it. Once I've stuck the turbo on it, power will jump up. And maybe even the economy will jump up as well, which, speaking of which, isn't bad. It's 38.5 in a 70-something horsepower car, yes, but it's not too bad for what's really half built. So 120.5, no, you don't like that. If it's slightly like that more, they're like, oh, we can't quite decide between comfort suspension and normal suspension. Normal would definitely be less fun, I would think. So I'm inclined to say sports suspension, even if the market doesn't like it as much. And yes, the McPherson struts and trailing arm can go if they need more refinement. So is that the answer? It could well be. But we're not doing that yet. We are checking some other things. Yeah. If I raise it too much, it'll lose all sportiness. That's the thing. It does actually sit lower, I've just realised, with different suspension. Mainly the trailing arm, I think, forces a car to sit higher off the ground. So, if we change that as rear suspension, we can have it sitting lower while having it... what was I saying? We can have it sitting lower while also having the sport suspension, and now it's on trailing arm, which is very strange for a hatchback. We'll go 123, 122.8. So it's still kind of high off the ground for a sporty vehicle. Ooh. Maybe they just love the suspension settings. Yeah. This is really, really making people happy. It's kind of weird because it's so competitive in the class, but it's not cheap enough. I'll have to cheapen out on the interior and stuff and make that lower quality, because Otherwise, who's going to be able to actually buy this thing? Wow, how is it like in the fun category with no sportiness? Beats me. I guess it's good for miles per gallon and it's light. That's probably why. Yeah, they like that as well. But we wouldn't put them on a park bench in the back of a car. That would be a bit too cruel. Yeah, we'll make it ever so slightly cheaper by putting 2 rear seats in. Sometimes worth doing on the sportier classes. Semi-clad, you don't like that. Cooling flaps. No. Okay. Basic CD. No, you must have a cassette. Is this actually 2003 or have we somehow time warped to 1993? Because I'm sure in 2003 most cars would have had a CD player, even cheaper ones. Well, I don't know. Anyway, we'd have to go and see how this affects it. Yes, it lowers the market value, but so that's, I guess, what we have to deal with. The electronic stability control is loved by all. 128.6. Standard 8 safety. There's no other basic safety beyond the 90s. Okay. No safety. What? How? How on earth does that not hurt you? So, how much does it actually take off the market? It's about 1.7, I think. 0.6 is added on to the budget. Do I want the car to be dangerously unsafe? Sure. I don't know. I've basically built a death trap by this point. I've basically built a death trap that no one will want to drive. Oh dear. How disappointing. And then make it out of aluminium so it crumples even more easily. No, you don't like that. You don't like that one bit. How about corrosion resistant steel? Nope. Yeah. How am I going to get this working? We could have a ladder frame, but it wouldn't work very well. I'm lost with this. Ooh, this could gain us market value. 5 valves per cylinder has worked before, favourably on my cars. By perhaps just giving them more power, but anyway, it increases the value as well. So, people like that. Oops. Got me a taskbar up, but it's done with now. That doesn't really cost much. Yeah, it does improve the markets. So again, it's hard to argue when the logic is just plain and simple right there. It probably doesn't cost much because there's only 3 small cylinders to fuel inject, let's be honest. Easy to tune is why I'm going with the turbocharger, because I want it to be easy to put more boost in there and probably throw it into a tree, which will kill any occupants because we've got no safety features. This car is all kinds of messed up. Yeah, it's... Basically, this is a psychopath if it was a car. As hard as it is to explain. Or even a psychopathic child because it's small. That's probably the best way to describe it. It's dangerous, and you probably shouldn't put it onto the streets, but I've done that anyway. So 77.3, can you... Can you somehow come through with similar market values? Ooh. I wonder if I go with fuel economy, how things will change. They don't seem to like it, but I do. I will trek on with the Turbo Crest. Especially since it's probably going to make the miles per gallon better. Which you can't really complain about. So you can get bigger, perhaps. 123.6. Ooh. 0.9. There we go. You don't like that either now? Does it want to rev higher? Actually, kind of. But I don't think it does. I don't think it likes the idea of it that much. I made it rev higher, but it didn't want to. It doesn't like being freed up. Okay, the market doesn't like it having its power freed up from the exhaust. Maybe it makes it noisier. Actually, it will make it noisier. Speaking of which, I haven't put any mufflers on it yet. Yeah, they really do. So, let me get something straight. They value having a quiet car more than they value having a safe car. I mean, I hate noisy vehicles as much as the next guy, but if it meant I could live, I would definitely put up with a bit of exhaust noise. Oh well. It doesn't seem to affect the markets, at least putting these things on. Or not much. So 128.2, 130.5, 130.7. Okay, try the straight throughs now. No, just want a pair of cheap baffled mufflers, but they still don't value safety. I'm not sure if I should like them for that. Well, kind of. I build the car, so I guess I should like them. That's probably a good balance. The power and performance and everything. Ooh. Although that apparently doesn't improve performance, the markets do like it. Fine, I'll rev it higher because I don't really have any particular opposition to that. It doesn't do any huge amounts of damage to the engine since I've easily got the extra buffer room. As you'll see, we've got 900 RPM to spare. So I can easily do that and gain a bit of market. Why not? Yeah, no doubt it's a little boring. The other engine I built, it had no mufflers, but it was so fun. Even when I turboed it and muffled it, that engine just could not be stopped. It was just a wild, unhinged thing. Come on, you can't be telling me there's that little space in the engine bay. Like it's actually digging through the wheel thingy. Wow. So technically this engine doesn't fit. That is craziness. Oh well. It's the death trap, as it is. Can we make a new colour? Yay. Shall we customise it? Do. Flake and shine. I don't know. I'm sorry. Anyone with taste in cars probably knows that That shouldn't be. It does get 50 miles per gallon though. I'll have to say that's quite good for a petrol engine. And how do we use it? I'm guessing an automatic is preferable. Yes. But boy, do they cost for a wallet. So, no, we're not going with a automatic as much as you might want one. How about a 6-speed? No. How about a 4-speed? Yes. What is this country I'm importing to? What? Exporting, is it? What country is this going to? I think I'm tuna racing in Brazil or something, where they, you know, they don't have the money for ultra expensive cars. Or no, I think India actually. I know the cars there don't have any safety features. And the geared limited slip differential really came in handy, eh? 138.7, but that will hurt the actual value of it. What can I say? I mean, I don't know. It does well. People want the car. They just see it as being really expensive. Which it kind of is. For the class it's in and the place it's going to. 142. So they don't care about safety, but they care about whether it's got sport tyres or not. I think me and these customers really need to talk, because something's not right if they're ordering cars spec'd out this way. This is the sporty one, as so it is. And we have a good turbocharged engine, so it's tunable because of that turbo. Come on. 215s. There are some wide tyres now. How do the market respond? No, it still doesn't want lesser compound, even though the tyres are now wide enough. 144.5. Okay. 145.6. How wide do you want them? Just tell me. Okay, 195s. They're pretty reasonable, actually. Given the power level and everything, I would have expected, given how this country's behaving, they would have wanted something crazy, but no. That's actually pretty sensible. I mean, it's an out-of-date car with out-of-date technology, but if it works, it works. Do. I wonder how it would do in a drag race against some other cars of the era. I keep forgetting it's 2003 now, so the figures I'm seeing, they're not actually bad at all. My mind's instantly trying to compare them to modern day cars, even though, you know, it's 15 years in the past, so these things are necessarily different to today. It's on steel wheels, apparently, which is strange to say the least. But nonetheless, I don't really mind. 147.6. Ooh. You want your wooden flats, do you? Maybe not. Maybe. I don't know. Just look at them wheels, though. 4-speed transmission. Yes. How are they for little flowering wheels? Ooh, we've got some other ones. They don't really look 2003 though. Like, I could see those coming out on a 2000s Audi, so they're not too out of place. I'll use these ones. 148.4 is what we've got now. How about the differential? Doesn't it need it now it's got wider tyres? Or does it still need that good assistance of an old differential? We'll go maybe medium. Nope. Okay, it's kind of expensive, but everyone wants one, which is good. Why they still don't like alloy wheels, it's beyond me. It's like I'm building a hot hatchback for a poor country who doesn't really know what a hot hatchback is. So, 150, that's good. That's very good, actually. I won't be going with solid discs on this because I want to save the... Whoa! There's not that much weight to slow. Yeah, I won't be going with ridiculous vented discs of huge size because it's not necessary. Ooh. I can make these quite small with the 2-piston discs. Is that... Okay. There we go. I was hoping I would hit a wall eventually. I mean, those brakes are tiny. Look at them. You can barely see them in there. But if they do the job, they do the job. It'll be complaining about brake fade, no doubt. But sometimes you have to make compromises. It's a cheap car. So having smaller discs will definitely help keep prices down. Do we want some bigger ones? I wouldn't be surprised if these brakes end up bigger than the front ones. They are drum brakes after all. So, there we go. No. It's actually worked out fairly evenly, as you would expect. 190mm front, 180mm rear. They're not big brakes by any means, but should it need big brakes when it only weighs, what, under 900 kilograms? I'm sure it's put weight on. It was like under 800 not too long ago. Ooh, it's showing up under track budget and stuff now. I wonder if we go back to market and go to Gasmir. Would they ever use... Wow, Gasmir absolutely hates me. It could be for safety. Arcania. They have the fun category I'm in, as well as some other ones. Sport budget, but that's about the same cost they have, and they don't perform near as well. So, what do we have? Do you want any safety now? Have you changed your mind? They've changed their mind. They want 80s safety. 90s safety. The safety doesn't cost that much. To be honest, I think it's just me overreacting to the cost of it. Since it's gone downhill already, though, I don't know what to say. Yeah, it's basically, they want a basic car, don't they? Under 900 kilos, nonetheless, which I think is good. So, 159.7, 0.1. Ooh. Should we invest in fancy sway bars? Sure, let's invest in fancy sway bars. If it really does make the markets happy and increases it by 1.5 points, I might as well go with it. 160 something it was. Sport. Ooh, we like the sport suspension now. So, sport suspension. I won't have to worry about lowering issues then, and I can go with a cheap suspension again. I could go front longitudinal, but longitudinal front wheel drive, I wonder. 174.1, 71.6. Okay. No, wrong mouse button I'm pressing. Okay. Ooh, 71.8. So, does that mean... I think I might have seen a slight way too cheap in my ways. Yeah. It performs slightly better in the markets as a longitudinal. Beats me exactly why. You'd think transverse would be cheaper, but no, that's not the case. So we're going with a longitudinal front wheel drive. The most primitive type. And it would actually, come to think of it, it's not intentional, as you just saw. But it would be easier to tune if it is a longitudinal engine. I mean, just look at that. The packaging of it is just a lot, it'll be a lot easier to get to when this thing is finished. Finished. Anyway, so what's to do? I think I know actually. So we have the torsion beam. Well, we don't have a torsion beam at the rear, do we? And we can't have a torsion beam at the rear with this suspension. I was thinking of putting double wishbone on the front and torsion beam rear, but that's not a possibility with a longitudinal engine. Oh well, I seem to have got it working for me. So that we'll have to do. How about the semi-space frame? No. 177. There's things that aren't... Things that aren't rust protected. I don't want to do that though. So, how is this engine? Could I squeeze any more power out of it? I wonder. Could I... I think if I adjust the turbo... by making these compressor and turbines smaller, I don't exactly know what they do. But I know that I can... hopefully sort them out. That was not what I wanted to do. 2,500 until the turbo is actually coming on. It's quite a bit of turbo lag. Come on. You can make power. I knowed it. So 176 is it? There we go. Do we want VVL? We don't have VVL because it's 5 valves per cylinder. Which is weird, again. This vehicle is so weird. Right, so 112. Turbo lag is about the same. If I can sort out this power curve so it's kind of overall quite solid and brings the power when it's required. Again, I've pushed later. I'm going to put it at 69, not for any kind of weird joke, but because it's actually the number it wants to be at. Okay. I think automation's making jokes now. There we go, 114. I think I could eke a bit more power out of that. Come on, intercooler. Yes! And then, we have 2 more things to do, actually. We'll do this, which should be so clear now. Yeah. 7,700. It's getting a bit close to the limits, but we still are fine, basically. And torque is pretty good as well. It's not really high amounts of torque, but it's enough torque as you could need to carry you along. Okay, along we go. What do we have? We have the exhaust. Would that really give us huge gains? It could gain us a horsepower. Again, even if the market's complaining, I think they're just complaining because it's more expensive, but nonetheless. How about bypass valves? Oh, they cost a bit of money. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. I don't want to grow the exhaust too much, because it gets expensive. Remember, I'm a real cheapskate here in building this car. It is kind of safe though. It's not a death trap now, which I can sleep easy on. Although, I want at least 70% budget, as I was saying. How about mechanical fuel injection? You ever fancy that? No. How about direct injection? There's a chance it could work. No, it's just so expensive. So multi-point it is. Again, it's a bit expensive here. Too expensive, I think, for it to work, but it does push the market up, which is nice. Shame it's expensive. And what else do we have? River gears. It's weird. It's got a limited slip differential, but it's only got a 4-speed transmission. Like, seriously, why? I think I've built something altogether quite good here, though. Because of the way longitudinal engines work in this game, unfortunately, I can't have torsion beam on the back. If I could, then I would, but it's just the way things have worked out, the way things have played out, unfortunately. So, that's not an option. We can't have semi-slicks. Okay, 163, 173. Ah, there's a little thing I haven't tried, actually. There's a little thing I haven't tried. It's called trying. No. The little thing I haven't tried is actually called making the tyres a different size as opposed to the wheels. Do you want alloys now? No. Again, they're still steel wheels, even though they're quite large. I don't get that either. So, if we go with more tyres, did we get happy? No. It was quite happy at 580. Right, we've got to make the tyres match up. That works for me. But we could go with a bit more on the way. It won't let me. Close enough. No, it's not close enough. I'm being obsessive. No one double crosses me and gets away with it. Including automation mobiles. Yeah. Including you. 175.2. No. Don't want smaller than that. Actually, I did save a bit of money on the wheels, so makes me wonder. Could I go with solid discs? 170. No, I couldn't. They just want the cheapness, quite frankly. I can't blame them. Giving it a bit more... giving it a bit more disc on the back. Because it needs it. Needs that kick of a disc to get it, get it in gear, you know. So it's not quite what I was intending to build originally, but I've got slightly more comfort orientated pads on it now. It's not what I was originally setting out to build. I was thinking I would build something like, I don't know, naturally aspirated, I guess. I was thinking I wanted to build something lower and sleeker, but that just isn't going to happen. Right, so what do we have here? We have a fairly competitive vehicle. We have too many seats. That would be a very weird configuration. Actually, build a Fiat Multipla. Yeah. This is basically the car your family doesn't want you to buy because it's so uncomfortable. Comfort, no. Sport. Utility. Off-road. Race. I was just thinking it would have been funny for a moment if Race actually gave it a really good score. To be fair, it has guided me on making quite a sporty car at the expense of everything else. It's not cheap either. Where in the particular region where this is getting sold, this is a is it not premium, but it's a fairly mid-range car. You must remember. 142, okay. It's lower than I was intending originally. I think what we can do next is bring the front in, as I'd like to do with all my cars. Bring that down. Ooh. Perhaps if we bring that forward, we can't seem to bring the lower part back, but again, I can make an egg, kind of. I think I've done it before. Makes the things better for visibility because you have a more straight up windscreen and it's not raked at your face like a Lamborghini Countach. We can extend all of that outwards. Bring the bumper out. There we go. What's the weight balance? 900 kilograms exactly. I can't call that a failure. That is actually pretty good. For something that's intentionally sporty. Moreover, for something with 100 horsepower, that is pretty nice. We've got 56% front, 44 rear, which is partially due to the smaller engine, but mainly we have to remember it's got not that much weight at the front, actually, respective of what it is. The engine is 140 something kilos, so that isn't gonna help matters. How about now? No, it won't accept the 5-speed. I'm not necessarily disappointed because it's saving me money, but either way, I just don't know what to say. 7.7 to 60, okay. 5. Come on. $176.5. I'm just trying to think very, very hard about how to get the best gear ratios. It shows 7.7. Maybe I need to get them as long as possible. I don't know. That doesn't seem to really change. 175.9. So they seem to like it when it gets slowed down. Wait, 176.2. This seems to be as high as it's ever been. So I don't know. Ooh. It went down to 0.1. It's just all these fragile things with the dealings with the gear ratios. Ooh. Maybe I'm going to get this just right. I found a few points here. As you normally do with the gear ratios, but it's not normally so obvious, if that makes sense to find. Now, it is a manual. I could go with an advanced automatic, for example, and the values would fly up, but it would cost a bit more. But I actually want to do this in a realistic way, and you're not going to buy a sporty car with an automatic. You might actually buy a manual, even if it was a 4-speed. You might just accept that it's not got many gears, but it could still be fun if engineered properly, for example. Whereas you wouldn't go buying a automatic expecting thrills. Okay, that's just because I messed up the precious work they've done. It'll do 119 apparently. Again, not half bad for the type of vehicle this is. I think if I go a bit longer, yes indeed. Longer is what they ordered by the looks of it. No. So I could go that way, or I could go the other way with the 0.6. 0.5, 0.6, there we go. That's 7.6 seconds to 60. I'd say that would compete with a few hot hatchbacks for the time. So regardless of what you might say, this is definitely not a slow vehicle. It's not fast, no, but for the time, this is definitely not slow. And can we... It won't keep up with Subaru Imprezas, I'll say that. And I've not come near to the 240 horsepower limit suggested. But I don't really care about that. Because right now, I have a kind of matte pink super hatch. If you can even call it that. We'll go with some of these. These look like suitably 2003 handles. So invert them, do we? That would look better, I think. And then, do we want this to line up anywhere? Nope. So there we go. You can go plastic door handle. We're too cheap. We're just so cheap on them. We don't care. We'll go see what headlights we've got. I did have some on there. I'm pretty sure if you rewind the video you will see them even. But they didn't stay. Ooh, I see something here. I see something with these ones which made me like them. They all look exactly the same to me. I'm probably missing something blindingly obvious and I do apologise. Ooh, I noticed something different on that one. Maybe it's just all slightly different shapes for every car. Either way, that one isn't quite what I needed. Style 1B, depth B. Let's, for example, use this. There we go. How is that? That's a more perfect fish than a fit in a goldfish bowl, which didn't quite come out right. But anyway, who cares? Wait, I'm pretty sure I know what we can do next. Yes, this is how it's done. Well, no, that's not nice. That'll just expose our whole engine and tell everyone how daringly beastly it is. Actually, would this work? I was thinking of putting it between the headlights, seeing if it would work. Maybe it will work better down here. Yeah, the curves of the car actually go with it reasonably well. Admittedly, it looks a bit too modern, I would say. Looks a bit too modern, but I'm not going to complain right now because I've got something working on my side. Wait, we need some more downforce. That's what we need. That will kind of give us something down here. Because it's a very tall vehicle, remember. So that will give us something down here. That will make it look reasonable, at least. So there we go. What do we have elsewhere? I don't know. If we could have a grill above it. Ooh, now this could be useful. For once, I never seem to find a use for these, but I may have just found it. Come on, expand. Expand your business and grow. Now it's frowning. Frowning from above. Okay, there we go. You can go and do that. Like so. Right, oh yes, I think... You can go behind. It's not quite as horrible as it could look. There we go. And I think we need a badge in a really ugly location. So, badges. I want something quite goofy looking here. This is the man that has found the car. There we go. It looks more like this, to me, it looks like 2008, not 2003. Probably because it looks a bit like that Fiesta. Or maybe a Ford, the Ford K actually from that era. It looks a fair bit like it. What do we have on the back that we could use? There we go. Pleasant old man. Ooh, the square. No, I can't get them working, I can tell now. Give up and use some other lights, me says. These ones actually, these will work, I'll say that. However, they will definitely need some tweaking before they are suitable. But they will be able to work on this car. Because everything about them is just fitting, I guess you could say. Do. There we go. So he can be made a little smaller. There we go. Mean old Ateza style transparent tail lights. I don't know, it makes it look like an MPV though. I don't know quite how to go about it. So we have transparency. That problem with that, it looks more like it's, yeah. That's not what I want either. I guess it'll have to be this. Weird as it looks. Looks like those weird French cars with orange, yellow lights. So, indicators. Because it has just reminded me, speaking of the indicators, we do need to... No, you can go back. I don't know how that got on the front, but it did. Oh, right. Maybe I was grabbing the wrong thing, but either way, nowadays, we have indicators. Designed to say hello to people at junctions. Many, many indicators. Mistake. I meant to make them fog lights, but somewhere along the line my mind said, indicators. Oh dear. What am I going to do with myself? So, you can go down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plastic. There we go. Too much airflow, I think, going to the engine. Which reminds me, I could adjust the engine airflow to be more than 50%, but I can't be bothered. The badge should be on that grille, though. Although it will be floating, there's just nothing I can do about it because my mind has the urge to stick it there. That's just where it belongs. It doesn't belong anywhere else on the car. Like there, it looks pretty good actually, but below that, it didn't look so good. Speaking of which, this is a sport model, so maybe I should let out a bit of aggression with a vent. I know it's got far too much cooling already, but this is what we're doing. It looks like a Weiser, I think we can quite safely say. Right, so the door handle, or boot lid handle, I guess, as it should be called. You can go there. You can be plastic again. I wonder if we could make the badger out of plastic now. It would have been pretty funny if you could. I will admit. Doo-doo-doo. So, if we could sort this out. The transparent stuff is driving me a little mad. Ooh, actually. Yes, that works. If we paint it red and not yellow, it actually looks like tail lights. Trouble is, it hides some of the transparent stuff behind it. But if we make that also red, I think I can work something out there. So, come on, where is it? Transparented stuff. Red. I don't know. Anyway, there we go. That is it. No indicators on here though, which is a shock. However, we can actually use these indicators now. Which, well, look a bit obscure down there, but we can use them nonetheless. And the tail lights, is it? I think it is. We need a bit of a reversing light, so do you want to go just above the number plate, sir? Concept. There we go. I'll add that, and then in a moment we'll go concept on the front. Ah, actually, perfect place to mount it. How could I forget? Still looks a little awkward to me, but quite frankly, I have to finish this. I mean, I can't spend ages perfecting the design, because if I did that, then the video would take ages to actually come out. Well, it'll take long enough as it is, but it'll take too long, is what I mean. Right, so don't know what I can do about that, other than actually, if I move it below, this is kind of sneaky. Messes up my number plate, but hey, you can't see beneath it at least. Yeah. Well, you can, but it just looks like a big mess. I can forgive that, though. I'll put that into a reversing light. There we go. This is slightly weird looking hatchback. We need one more thing as well to finish off. Yes, let's add a mighty spoiler. Oh. Ah. No, spoilers belong on the roof. Oh, so it snaps into the roof, kind of, does it? It can't decide where it wants to be. If I'm going to have one of those, I need a spoiler that decides where it is, I guess. Wait, you can go... You can go somewhere. There we go. Is this a Toyota Yaris body? I think I'm just realising now. Does it look like that? Oh, the Toyota Yaris? I don't think it does. Okay. I mean, that wing probably wouldn't provide any downforce you would want, but it's a wing of sorts, so it will do wing things. And we can have, perhaps, some downforce. We don't have a downforce under tray. That wouldn't work, but we don't want an active wing either, or do we? How much is it? Too expensive, and the market doesn't really want it. Okay. Rear wing angle, I think, is what we need to be on full. But I don't know. Then we can check the lift at test track. See how it is. So, yeah, loads of rear downforce, and we've got lift on the front. So, in which case, we need less rear. I want it to have just downforce. I don't want it to be a downforce heavy vehicle, if that makes sense. I want it to be just cutting into the downforce zone. So 50 something, 59 and 15. Let's try this. Ooh, we're getting close. We're getting close there. And then we can go and raise this. So it lied. It's 899.5 kilograms, not 900. Well, close enough. I mean, no one's going to notice a difference. If we can give the car a bit more rear downforce. 1, 2. Yep. Maybe a bit less front end downforce as well. Is what it needs. Yeah, I would say that's good enough. I mean, maybe I could do a more perfect ordeal of it if I tuned it more. But I don't know. I'm happy with it as it is, to be honest. I just want to go and double check the gear ratios and everything are fine, and then I will be done for this vehicle. So where are the gears hiding? There we go. It's a bit slower to 60, as you would perhaps expect. So it doesn't want to go that way. 5. Maybe I make it faster, I don't know. Okay. Nope. It'll only go to 0.5. 49. Nope. Okay, 48 is about as good as it's going to get. Wow, just look at that. I think it keeps it over 100 horsepower, which is impressive. When you're in higher speed areas, you'll really want that. Save, and we'll move on. As I was saying, this is properly quick for the day. Even if it's not got that much power, because it just doesn't weigh that much, and it's got the torque of a turbocharger, it does get going. Also, there's more precise weight balance. But we do need to save this to Beam and get it around test track. Well, before I recorded this, I was feeling sure it wouldn't end up as long as the last two. Unfortunately, that statement may be incorrect. And here's the car. Anyway, what else have I got to say? Yes, sportiness. Anyway, we do have to get going, so let's do such. 1 and off, ESC. That was kind of a rushed movement by my part. Now we have only got a 4-speed, but it is a proper manual, so it might still do quite well. I mean, in my older series, you could have 4-speed cars do quite well. I mean, as long as they were relatively well geared and everything. They didn't have to have the most gears. Oh, come on. Yes, to the inside. This handles so well. I mean, it's on sport soft tyres, admittedly, but I can really see it might compete in the fun market just by being so much, well, fun. Come on. I'm using first and second gear mainly. Whoa, come on. It is firm, no doubt. But that doesn't matter too much, because I can genuinely feel it like the, not forward. Ooh. I've kind of thrown it into the trees. I don't feel like any damage was done to the car though, but if it is, it will only be cosmetic kind of stuff. So, just gotta pull my way out of there. Right, that's bad. I've wasted my first one now, but it's not the end of the world. Oh, right, yeah, there we go. It has kind of made me cautious as well. Maybe I would have flown off at that corner if I weren't cautious there. As I slow down here more gradually, perhaps. And round the corners we go. Come on, try and balance this out. Ooh. Come on, we will do it. Yes, excellent. These gear ratios do feel really good, I won't lie. Mind, it could just be that it's a surprisingly quick car. As I was saying, 900 kilograms is not a lot for a car, and then it's got over 100 horsepower to go along with that, which is a pretty good combination. Oh, come on! It's almost like I'm racing a Mini, that's the thing, that's the feeling I get. Only it's got electronic stability control and anti-lock brakes, which make it a lot more approachable. And that gear shift seemed to take longer. I'm sure I shifted into the gear and then Beam was like, wait a minute, oh, you're changing gear. Okay, first. Come on, ooh, I felt chassis flex there. It's not the most sophisticated. So, we return on another kind of time trial for this car. Because, as you'll see in the top corner, 5:31, I'm obviously not going to set a quickest time with a time like that. Because I'm basically giving it another running lap. I forgot to set the lap counter to 3 laps before. And I feel really this has incredible potential. So, I'm going to try and unlock it as much as I possibly can. If it means impulsive driving, then so be it. Because this thing has so much potential. By which I mean, it has become the new quickest car on our leaderboard. Which is properly amazing. Even me, I never intended for it to be that quick. I intended that it maybe would be quick. But that quick? Definitely not. I mean, it's not incredibly light. 900 kilos, sure, it's light, but it's not like crazy light. And it's still not that powerful. Oh. They got me at the wrong moment. The Libyans have got me. Or whatever they're saying, Back to the Future. The Libyans are coming. That is quite a messed up front end. Right, I've thrown it away by the wall. You can tell that's not going to be the quickest. It's the quickest car on the leaderboard anyway, quite frankly. But just look at that. That's about as messed up as you can get a car without actually having mechanical damage on it. Wild. Right, either way, since it is fully functional, we do have to take it to the finish line. I mean, I'm amazed. This car can leave with a pat on the back. It has beaten the not K. It has beaten the 3250 horsepower car. It's beaten my monster crossover. So, yeah, this is a very good suggestion. Come on. Have we lost a wheel yet? No, the wheel's still kind of there. Just going to freewheel. Does it still spin? I think it does, you know. Does it still spin? If we go into first, hard on the brakes. It doesn't seem to spin. The car moves, but I don't know if it's spinning because of the ground doing it. It looks pretty broken there. Now my wheel's upside down. Oh dear. Anyway, there's not much to say. It is a monster of a vehicle, even if I did throw it away. So, with all being said and done, goodbye until another day.